Every morning, you wake up and face the world. But do you truly know who you are? Do you have the mental strength to conquer the challenges life throws at you? Or are you merely a passenger in the chaos of life, drifting wherever the winds of fate take you? Today, I'm going to share with you the 8 most powerful things you can say to yourself every morning. These are principles that come straight from the heart of Stoicism and the shadows of dark psychology. If you adopt these words, you won't just wake up, you will rise. Welcome to Stoic Mastery, the place where power is built through discipline and mental resilience. Before we dive in, if you want more life-changing insights like this, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss a moment of clarity. Now, let's begin. Things. 1. I am the master of my mind. Every morning, when you open your eyes, you are presented with a decision. The first decision you make will shape your entire day. Will you allow your thoughts to control you, or will you take command of them? The mind is an incredibly powerful tool, but it can also be your greatest enemy if you let it run wild. Our thoughts often flood our minds in the morning, filled with anxiety, doubt, or negativity. The noise of the world begins to seep in, and before you know it, you've allowed your mind to become a battlefield. But here's the truth. You are not your thoughts. You are the one who decides how to respond to them. The Stoics knew this principle well. They understood that the only thing you can control in this chaotic world is your reaction to it. The external world, other people, circumstances, events, is beyond your control. What happens to you, how others behave, and the outcomes of your efforts are outside of your grasp. But your response to these external factors, that is entirely within your power. When you wake up every morning, the first thing you need to do is remind yourself, I am the master of my mind. The moment you say this, you take back control of your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions. You no longer become a passive participant in your day. Instead, you become the active creator of your reality. Think about how often you allow your emotions to dictate your actions. How often do you let fear, anxiety, or frustration guide your decisions? We've all been there, caught in the grip of overwhelming emotions. But when you declare that you are the master of your mind, you reclaim the power to decide how you will react. This doesn't mean that you will never feel anxiety, stress, or anger. It doesn't mean that you suppress your emotions. What it means is that you no longer let these emotions dictate your behavior. You learn to recognize these feelings without letting them control you. You take a step back, breathe, and respond with clarity and purpose instead of being swept away by the tide of your feelings. The Stoics taught us that our minds are like a garden. If you don't tend to it, weeds of negative thoughts and emotions will take over. But if you consciously choose to clear the weeds and plant seeds of control, focus, and resilience, your mind will become a powerful ally. The key is daily practice. Each morning, as you wake up, remind yourself that you are the master of your mind. This is not a one-time statement. It's a practice that requires consistency. Over time, you will train your mind to focus on what you can control: your response, your perspective, and your actions. Mastering your mind is not about suppressing your emotions or pretending that difficult situations don't affect you. It's about acknowledging those emotions without being consumed by them. It's about exercising the power to choose how you respond in any given moment. So, tomorrow morning when you wake up, say to yourself, I am the master of my mind. Remember, you are not a slave to your thoughts. You are the sovereign of your own mental state, and you hold the key to how you will face the challenges of the day. With this mindset, you can conquer anything that comes your way. Things 2. I embrace discomfort. The path to growth is never easy. In fact, it's often uncomfortable, painful, and even frightening. But here's the reality. You cannot grow without discomfort. Every challenge you face, every uncomfortable situation you endure, is an opportunity to strengthen your mind and character. The Stoics were masters of embracing discomfort. They didn't seek out pain for its own sake, but they understood that life would throw hardships their way. Rather than shy away from discomfort, they chose to face it head-on. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, often reminded himself that the obstacles in his path were not hindrances to his peace. They were the very tools for shaping his character. When you wake up every morning, remind yourself, I embrace discomfort. This simple statement can change the way you approach every challenge that comes your way. The idea is not to seek pain or hardship for the sake of suffering. Instead, it's about choosing to see every moment of discomfort as an opportunity for growth. Think about it. Most people run from discomfort. They avoid hard conversations, avoid difficult tasks, and find every excuse to stay within the confines of their comfort zone. This might feel good in the short term, but it leads to stagnation. You cannot grow if you're always avoiding the uncomfortable. The discomfort is where the lessons lie, and the Stoics knew that true power lies in mastering the ability to endure hardship without letting it break you. When you embrace discomfort, you begin to transform it from an obstacle into a tool. Every time you face something difficult, whether it's a challenging workout, a hard conversation, or a project that pushes you to your limits, you are strengthening your resilience. Your character is forged in these moments. You are becoming someone who does not back down when things get tough. It's easy to fall into the trap of seeking comfort, of wanting life to be easy. But true fulfillment comes from the ability to rise above discomfort and continue moving forward. Every time you face discomfort and push through it, you build a stronger mind, a stronger will, and a stronger sense of purpose. The Stoics also understood that discomfort is often unavoidable. Life, by its nature, is unpredictable. You can't control what happens to you, but you can control how you respond. When you face a difficult situation, your response is what defines you. Will you retreat into your comfort zone, or will you lean into the challenge and face it head-on? Remind yourself every day, I embrace discomfort. This mindset shifts your perspective on life. Instead of seeing discomfort as something to avoid, you begin to view it as an opportunity to build strength and resilience. When you feel fear or anxiety, instead of backing away, you lean in, you take action, you face the challenge with clarity and courage. When discomfort shows up, don't shy away from it. Lean into it. See it for what it is, a chance to sharpen your mind, strengthen your willpower, and grow as a person. Each time you do this, you reinforce your power to handle whatever comes your way. And over time, discomfort won't seem as daunting. Instead, it will become a familiar companion on your journey to greatness. So tomorrow, and every day after that, wake up with the thought, I embrace discomfort. Let it be the mindset that propels you toward growth and personal mastery. You will find that with each challenge, you become stronger, wiser, and more capable than ever before. Things 3. What happens today is neither good nor bad. It simply is. The world is chaotic, unpredictable, and often beyond our control. Yet how we respond to the events around us is what ultimately shapes our experience. The Stoics knew that the key to peace of mind wasn't in trying to control the uncontrollable, but in accepting reality as it is. They understood that everything that happens is simply what is, and it is our interpretation of events that makes them seem good or bad. Each morning, remind yourself, what happens today is neither good nor bad, it simply is. This powerful mindset shift can transform the way you experience life. When you start your day with this simple affirmation, you free yourself from the need to label every event as either a success or a failure. You allow yourself the freedom to experience life without the constant pressure of judgment. The truth is, We often live in a world of dualities. We see things as black or white, good or bad, success or failure. But life doesn't work in such rigid categories. There is no inherent good or bad in the events that happen to you. They are neutral until you assign meaning to them. The Stoics believed that it's not the events themselves that cause us pain, but our judgments and reactions to them. The way we interpret what happens is where the suffering begins. Take a moment and reflect on the challenges you face each day. How often do you automatically label them as bad? A difficult conversation, a missed opportunity, a setback in your work. These can all seem like negatives. But in truth, they are simply what is. They are events that we can either choose to react to with frustration, anger, or despair, or we can choose to embrace them as opportunities for growth. When you remind yourself that what happens today is neither good nor bad, you begin to detach yourself from the emotional weight of events. You stop seeing life as a series of victories or defeats, and instead, you start seeing it as a journey of learning and self-mastery. The Stoics didn't believe that everything that happened was for a reason, but they did believe that everything could be used for personal growth if you chose to interpret it that way. This mindset doesn't mean you become passive or indifferent to the world around you. It means you become resilient in the face of life's challenges. When things don't go as planned, instead of reacting with disappointment or frustration, you can pause and reflect. You can choose to see the situation for what it is and ask yourself, what can I learn from this? Every event, no matter how seemingly negative, carries a lesson. Every failure, setback, or obstacle is an opportunity to develop a greater sense of inner strength, resilience, and wisdom. By removing the emotional charge from situations, you free yourself to respond with clarity and composure. When you approach each day with the mindset that nothing is inherently good or bad, you liberate yourself from unnecessary suffering. You allow yourself to flow through life's challenges with a sense of peace, knowing that each moment, no matter how difficult, is just another step on the path of self-mastery. So tomorrow, and every day after that, remind yourself, what happens today is neither good nor bad. It simply is. This mindset will allow you to experience life as it comes, without attaching unnecessary judgments or emotions to the events that unfold. By embracing this truth, you take control of your inner peace, and you become resilient in the face of whatever life brings your way. Things 4. I am not afraid of failure. I am afraid of not trying. Fear of failure is something that holds most people back. It paralyzes them, making them hesitant to take risks, to put themselves out there, and to chase their dreams. But what if failure wasn't something to be feared? What if failure was a sign that you were actually moving forward? The Stoics believed that the fear of failure is far more damaging than failure itself. They understood that failure is not the end, it's part of the process of growth. They embraced failure as an opportunity to learn, to improve, and to become better versions of themselves. When you wake up every morning, remind yourself, I am not afraid of failure. I am afraid of not trying. Failure, in its purest form, is just an outcome. It's a result, not a judgment of your worth. The problem is not failure itself, but the belief that it somehow defines us. Society has conditioned us to see failure as something inherently bad, something to be ashamed of. But the reality is that failure is often the best teacher. Every great person who has achieved success has faced failure, sometimes multiple times. What separates those who succeed from those who give up is their ability to embrace failure as part of the journey rather than an obstacle. When you tell yourself that you're not afraid of failure, you start to view challenges through a different lens. You see them as opportunities, not as threats. You no longer feel trapped by the fear of making a mistake or falling short. Instead, you feel empowered because you understand that failure isn't the end. It's the beginning of a new lesson, a new chance to grow. The Stoics taught that we should not avoid challenges for fear of failing. In fact, they encouraged us to actively seek discomfort because it is in discomfort that we find our true potential. The more you put yourself out there, the more likely you are to fail. But it's through that failure that you grow stronger, wiser, and more capable. The key is not to let failure define you or stop you. Instead, ask yourself, what can I learn from this experience? How can I use this failure as a stepping stone toward my next attempt? It's not about being perfect. It's about improving with each attempt, each failure, and each lesson. The fear of failure holds you back from reaching your true potential. When you allow yourself to be consumed by the fear of failing, you start to play it safe. You stay within the boundaries of what's comfortable, and you miss out on the opportunities for growth that lie outside of those boundaries. By saying, I am not afraid of failure, I am afraid of not trying, you liberate yourself from the fear that keeps you stuck. You take action, no matter how uncertain or risky the outcome may be. You understand that trying is where the power lies, and even if you fail, you're one step closer to success, because you've gained valuable experience, wisdom, and resilience. So every morning, remind yourself that failure is not your enemy. It's your greatest teacher. Embrace it, learn from it, and keep moving forward. Success isn't found in the absence of failure. It's found in the willingness to keep trying, no matter how many times you fall. Things 5. I control my reactions, not my circumstances. One of the most powerful truths you can internalize is the realization that you cannot control everything around you. Life is unpredictable, and external events, whether they're a difficult conversation, an unexpected setback, or even something outside of your control, will inevitably occur. What you can control, however, is how you choose to respond. The Stoics understood this concept deeply. They accepted that the world is full of uncontrollable factors. In fact, one of the central tenets of Stoicism is to differentiate between what is within your control and what is not. Circumstances, other people's actions, the economy, or even the weather. All these are beyond your influence. But your reactions, your thoughts, and your emotional responses, these are all firmly within your control. When you wake up every morning, remind yourself, I control my reactions, not my circumstances. This is a powerful realization that shifts your mindset from victimhood to empowerment. It's not about denying the challenges you face. It's not about pretending that life is always easy or smooth. Rather, it's about acknowledging that the only thing you truly have control over is how you respond to the chaos around you. Consider this. How often do we let external events determine our mood or mindset? Someone cuts you off in traffic and suddenly your whole day feels ruined. A colleague says something critical and you carry that negativity with you all day long. The truth is, those events, while they may trigger emotions, do not have the power to control you unless you allow them to. In the Stoic philosophy, the key to freedom is recognizing that you have the power to choose your response. This isn't to say that you should suppress your emotions or ignore reality. It's about acknowledging your emotions without letting them dictate your actions. When something happens that you cannot control, you have two choices. You can react with frustration, anger, or fear, or you can choose to respond with calmness, clarity, and composure. The strength of your character is determined by how you respond to challenges. When you realize that your circumstances don't control you, you begin to see every event, not as a potential trigger for anxiety or anger, but as an opportunity to demonstrate your resilience. You can choose how to interpret and react to any situation. For instance, imagine facing a challenging situation at work. A project deadline is moved up, and you feel overwhelmed. You can choose to react with panic, stress, and frustration, or you can take a step back, breathe, and respond with a calm, problem-solving mindset. The situation itself hasn't changed, but your response has. This is where your true power lies, in the ability to choose your emotional and mental state, regardless of what's happening around you. When you live with the belief that you control your reactions, you stop giving away your power to external circumstances. You stop letting the whims of the outside world dictate your inner peace. Instead, you become the calm center in the midst of chaos. So, every morning, as you prepare for the day, remind yourself, I control my reactions, not my circumstances. By adopting this mindset, you free yourself from the endless cycle of stress, frustration, and anxiety. You take back your power and transform your life, one response at a time. This simple shift in perspective can make all the difference in your ability to stay centered, focused, and resilient, no matter what life throws your way. Things 6. I choose to focus on what I can control. In a world that constantly pulls us in different directions, it's easy to get overwhelmed by things that are out of our control. The news, other people's opinions, unpredictable events. There are so many external forces that we can't change, and yet we often waste time and energy trying to control them. But what if you could focus only on the things you can control? The Stoics understood that peace comes not from trying to control everything around you, but from focusing solely on what you have the power to change. Epictetus, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, taught that we should spend our energy on mastering ourselves and our responses, not on trying to master the world. The key to resilience is not in manipulating every circumstance to your advantage, but in deciding to focus on what is within your control. Every morning, remind yourself, I choose to focus on what I can control. This is a game-changing mindset. It helps you to stop wasting precious energy on things that are outside your influence, like other people's behavior or the outcomes of situations you have no direct hand in. Instead, you channel your efforts into your own actions, thoughts, and decisions, the things that are entirely within your grasp. Think about it. How much mental energy do you waste on things you cannot control? We often worry about the future, stress over what others think, or try to manipulate events to align with our desires. But this is a recipe for frustration. You can't control what others think or do. You can't control the weather, the traffic, or the economy. What you can control is your response to all of these external forces. When you choose to focus on what you can control, you reclaim your power. You stop living reactively, letting the world dictate your emotions and mindset. Instead, you take responsibility for the way you think, how you act, and the choices you make. This shift allows you to become proactive instead of constantly reacting to the world around you. For example, consider a difficult situation at work. You may not be able to control how your boss behaves or the decisions your company makes, but you can control your attitude, your work ethic, and your approach to problem solving. You can control how you handle challenges, how you treat others, and how you maintain your mental clarity and focus. This principle is not just about work. It applies to all areas of your life. In your relationships, you cannot control how others behave, but you can control how you respond. If you are faced with a personal challenge, instead of worrying about factors beyond your control, you can choose to focus on your own mindset and actions. The more you focus on what you can control, the more empowered you become. You stop feeling helpless and start taking action. You stop wasting energy on things that are outside of your reach, and instead pour your efforts into the areas where you can make a real difference. So each day, make it a practice to focus on what you can control. Ask yourself, what actions can I take today that align with my values and goals? The moment you shift your focus from the uncontrollable to the controllable, you will feel a sense of peace and empowerment. You will stop being a victim of circumstances and start being the creator of your own path. When you focus on what you can control, you stop worrying about things outside your influence and become fully engaged in shaping your own destiny. This mindset will allow you to navigate life with greater clarity, purpose, and resilience. Thing 7. I am not my past. I am what I choose to become. Many people live their lives trapped in the past. They allow their past mistakes, regrets, or experiences to define them, believing that the mistakes they made or the pain they endured somehow dictate their future. But the Stoics knew a powerful truth. You are not defined by your past. You are defined by what you choose to become. The past is gone. It is an immutable part of your history. It holds no power over your future unless you let it. Every day is a new opportunity to reinvent yourself, to leave behind the mistakes, regrets, and burdens of yesterday and step into a new version of yourself. The Stoic philosophers encouraged the practice of self-reflection and self-discipline, but they also emphasize the importance of moving forward and choosing the future you want to create. When you wake up every morning, remind yourself, I am not my past. I am what I choose to become. This simple yet profound mindset shift gives you the power to release any negative self-image that might have been built from past failures. No longer are you a prisoner of past actions or experiences. You are free to create the life you desire, starting from this moment. Think about how often we allow our past to limit us. We tell ourselves, I failed before, so I'll fail again. Or, because I've been hurt, I'll always be vulnerable. These beliefs are rooted in the past and are nothing more than mental chains we've placed on ourselves. The Stoics taught us that the only thing that truly matters is the present moment, the here and now, and how we choose to respond to it. The past is a collection of experiences, not an identity. It doesn't matter how many times you've failed or what mistakes you've made. What matters is how you decide to show up today. Your past is just that, past. The present moment is where you have the power to choose who you want to be and what you want to do. The Stoics also understood that change is constant. Every day is a new opportunity to evolve, to learn, and to grow. You are never fixed in one version of yourself. With every thought, every action, every decision you make, you are shaping your future and crafting the person you want to become. You can choose to stay attached to your past, holding on to old beliefs and patterns, or you can decide to let go of them and embrace the possibilities of the future. You are not bound by your history, and the mistakes you've made don't have to define you. The only thing that truly defines you is your actions moving forward. So when you wake up in the morning, repeat this affirmation: I am not my past. I am what I choose to become. Let it remind you that you are in control of your future. No matter what has happened before, you have the ability to create something new, to rise above the limitations of the past, and to build the person you want to be. Embrace the freedom that comes with this mindset. Understand that every moment is a new chance to redefine yourself. Don't let past failures or regrets dictate your future. Instead, choose to let go of them and step boldly into who you want to become. Each day is an opportunity to begin again, to shed the weight of your past, and to move forward with purpose, clarity, and strength. You are not your past. You are what you choose to become. And today, that choice is yours. As you move forward, remember this: you are the architect of your fate. Each day is a new opportunity to shape your life through the choices you make. The Stoics understood that while we can't control everything, we always control our responses, our actions, and our mindset. By embracing these principles, you empower yourself to live intentionally and resiliently, no matter what comes your way. So, start each day with purpose. You are the master of your mind. You embrace discomfort, and you choose what you become. These thoughts will guide you, transform you, and lead you to a life of strength, clarity, and power. If you found this video valuable, like and share it with others who need this message. Don't forget to subscribe to Stoic Mastery for more transformative insights. And leave a comment below with, "I am the architect of my fate," to claim your power.